Khalil Jahshan is the Executive Director of the Arab Center, Washington, D.C., and he joins us now live from Washington, D.C. Khalil, welcome to the show. So as we're hearing there, this is, I think, the sixth time the U.S. has blocked UN efforts to stop the war in Gaza. At what point does the international community recognise that this permanent member veto power has made the UN unable to act on urgent humanitarian matters?
It is mind-boggling. I mean, this is the sixth time the veto power is used to shelter Israel from finishing its genocidal war, ending its attacks, ethnic cleansing in Gaza, violations of international law on a daily basis. The U.S. seems to be proceeding with that. There is a long, of course, history, a lot more than 6 vetoes over the years. I think the international community should have realized the folly of this practice many years ago.
And when the Security Council is paralysed, as you say, by vetoes, what tools are left in the UN system to respond to the conflicts that we're seeing in Gaza currently? I mean, we know that famine is currently taking hold across the Strip. There's, of course, the ongoing violent, heightening assault to take Gaza City. So what tools are left to respond to that?
Frankly, the same tools that are available today are the exact tools needed, if used properly, to end this conflict. And unfortunately, the votes, whether it's at the UN Security Council or otherwise, have not been there to end the conflict. The focus has always, due to American pressure and pressure from other countries, and basically other countries falling prey to U.S. pressure, have been watering down these resolutions. If a resolution is taken in the national security to end the conflict, I think we will see more response from Israel than what we have seen thus far, because Israel knows that the international community, the leaders, particularly members of the Security Council at the UN, are not all united. I mean, every resolution comes out. Even regional meetings taking place in the region, as we've seen recently, have watered down their resolutions and do not mention the end of the war, or do not mention Israeli crimes in this regard, in an attempt basically to try to create some fake symmetry between Israel and Hamas.
Given the worsening humanitarian situation and the escalating Israeli assault and offensive to take Gaza City, what hope do you think there is of a ceasefire at this point?
At this point, there is only one hope for the ceasefire, which is basically for the U.S. to change its position and stop sheltering Israeli aggression. This is not, doesn't seem to be forthcoming, as the President of the United States announced today, that his emphasis is on the release of the hostages. But that's exactly what's needed. Ending the conflict is what allows the release of the remaining living hostages and exchange the bodies of the others. Short of that, frankly, it's very difficult to be hopeful. Because the U.S. is basically the only remaining power sheltering Israel and acting, in fact, as an accessory to it in this violation of international law.
And Khalil, on that point about the US, I mean, we saw the US backing the Security Council's statement condemning the Israeli strikes on Qatar last week, which seemed to maybe signal a shift in US diplomatic protection for Israel. But today's veto seems to show the US firmly backing Israel again. Do you think what could change that?
More pressure, I think, from the Arab side, in particular, those countries in the Arab world and the Muslim world who have close ties with the United States. They need to make it much clearer than they have done. They have come a step closer to doing so, but frankly, their statements have fallen short and fallen on deaf ears because of that. They need to be much more assertive in letting the United States know that this is totally unacceptable, and that the U.S. needs to use its influence to impress upon Mr. Netanyahu and the State of Israel to cease and desist, to end this war immediately. That hasn't happened. As a matter of fact, there is a clear contradiction between what happened during or before the strike leveled at Qatar. The U.S. did apparently know that this strike was happening and did not stop it. And they did know several minutes before. Again, the strike was accomplished, and they still didn't stop it. And they informed the Qataris after the fact. So denials after the event were not convincing. And I think their vote at the UN proves it again today that the U.S. is committed to continued war. And continued war in Gaza will not release the hostages and will not lead to a ceasefire.
Khalil Jahshan, Executive Director of the Arab Center, Washington, D.C., thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.